Hello, hello, hello.
Hello, hello.
Yes, welcome to this Black Girl podcast. I am one of your lovely hosts, Hill Diva.
And I'm your other host, Lola. You can find us on Instagram at This Black Girl Podcast. We're available on all streaming platforms, including Spotify, Google Podcasts, Anchor FM, Apple Podcasts, and everything in between.
Yes, stay tuned. Definitely look out. Always check your feeds. You can subscribe to us on our listening platform for podcasts, and you can always subscribe to our YouTube channel. So get in the know and get those notifications because we will be doing regular episodes. But for this episode, we're going to be talking about the working mom life.
Okay, so before we even get into this, I want to talk a bit about what kind of inspired the episode. So the show, Working Mom. It is a show on CBC. It is local to, our city, GTA, whatever. But it's a local show about 4 different types of mothers and how, their different lifestyles affects them in terms of motherhood, as well as being career mothers, and how they manage to balance work, raising kids, relationships, friendships, and all of that. So if you guys haven't seen that show, I recommend it. It's on Netflix.
Yes, I was just going to say
So
that.
good.
You can binge watch it. I think it's got 4 seasons now, so you can binge watch it. I'm actually at the very beginning. I started watching it a while back and then had to do a quick catch up. Yes.
Oh my gosh. I've been caught up. I'm waiting for the next season. It's so good.
Okay, good. I still have to get into it. Another show, though, that I have been watching was Good Girls. And that one's also about 3 sets of moms trying to, get into all kinds of stuff. 3 working moms as well. And that one is hilarious. So if you get to watch, if you have a chance, go on Netflix, watch Good Girls, and just laugh your pants off. Because it's a nice little feel good, but unexpected type funny show. So,
okay.
Yes. But it's all running with the theme of working moms. It's funny, though, because if any listeners who are watching either have kids or maybe are thinking of having kids one day, it's always that decision for moms, am I going to work while I have children, or am I going to be a stay-at-home mom? Sometimes it's a financial decision, whether you can stay home, whether you cannot, or sometimes it's just, an emotional decision if you want to just stay home type thing. So,
okay, so if we're going to get into the whole concept of mothering and working moms and that kind of lifestyle, I guess to an extent that you're comfortable with, describe, your motherhood journey so far.
Ooh, okay, yes, I definitely could do that.
Yeah, what started it, where you're at, how you feel about it.
Yes. So my motherhood journey has been very, very, it's been very long because I have my kids. I have 3 children, 3 boys, 8, 9, and 10 now. So it's been very energetic and exciting with my children. I was a stay-at-home mom for 5 years. So I stayed home, I took care of my boys, and until I was ready to go back into the workforce. For me, and that decision was more of an emotional decision. I didn't want my child being raised at a daycare. I wanted to have those early years to bond with my sons and to make sure that I knew they were properly taken care of before heading off to school. I wanted to be there for those tender years. So, but I'm telling you, part of it too, I did also think I wanted, during those kind of early years, I definitely wanted to have that control over being with them so that once I did send them off to daycare, I wasn't getting phone calls every 2 minutes. This one's sick, or that one's sick, or this one bumped his head, this one did that. So like once they're older, it's kind of easier to not have so many phone calls coming, because especially since my kids are close in age. But yeah, so my journey was it was a lot of work because my kids are close in age. So it's a lot of, you get one dressed, ready to go out. You finally get the next one dressed. Then you get the third one dressed, and you turn around, the first one's butt naked again, waiting, like running around in the house. It's like, oh God, it's like winter time. You got to put the snowsuit all the way back on. So there's a lot of little funny moments like that. But my boys they're so close, and they love each other, and sometimes I do feel more like a referee than a mom, I will say, being a mom of boys. So if anybody is a mom of boys, trust me, I know what you're going through. I know exactly what it is, because it definitely is a lot of work, but they love their mom. They're sweetie pies, so I can't complain too much. So tell me about your journey, Miss Lola.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so my journey is not as long as yours, but I have a 5-year-old girl, and I was slightly one of those TLC didn't know you were pregnant moments. Just because I found out I was even pregnant when I was almost done my first trimester. So there was that kind of threw me off. I was really anxious about having a child, just because I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know what to do. The partner that I was with at the time was very supportive and very encouraging. So I didn't feel like I was necessarily alone. But girl, just the amount of work, it's a lot of work. It requires a lot of patience, it requires a lot of time, it requires a lot of giving. Thankfully, at least for me, I only have one kid. At this point in time, I do not have the intention, aspiration, desire, or motivation to multiply.
Sorry, can you say that part again?
Oh, I'm just saying, at this point, I have no aspirations, desires, inclinations to multiply my situation. She will remain an only child, but she's really fun. She's a sweetheart. Gets along with a lot of people. Has a lot of energy. Very energetic. Hard to keep up. Mm-hmm. But wouldn't trade her for anything. She's great. She's a great character.
And that's so sweet. Mm-hmm.
No, I'm just saying she's just a kid, so it's what can you expect?
Of course. And it's so sweet. I like how you mentioned the whole, while you're pregnant, you're anxious to know. That's definitely something I went through with my first, for sure. I remember I spent days daydreaming about, what does this little baby look like? What is this baby's voice going to sound like? Oh, what is he going to, when is he going to say, mommy, And now I'm telling you, it's like I hear it all day long. Mom, 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 mom. I'm like, call me daddy. Just call me daddy. Okay? Just to give me a mental break, please. Mommy, mommy. But that, oh my God. It's so funny how you dream about it beforehand, but the expectation versus reality of motherhood is just completely different than what you would expect, for sure.
Different. Because I don't know, I've had friends around me, I've had family members around me who have had kids, young babies and stuff like that. So it's not like being around babies was a foreign concept to me. Mm-hmm. But I guess within my, I can't even say our social circle, because you had your kids before I had mine. But within I guess my personal circle, I was the first person to actually have a kid, in terms of a lot of my other friend circles. So I didn't necessarily have anybody to turn to for advice. Nobody was telling me, girl, you're gonna have to wake up every fucking 2 hours to feed a child. Nobody told me that if you're in a room with somebody else's baby and they start crying, that your tits are gonna leak. Nobody didn't tell me that it's that one of your nipples may shoot off like a fucking water gun, okay? Like, or that they will hurt when they have too much milk. Like, no, nobody told me about diaper blowouts. Like, nobody told me about diaper blowouts, and that some babies friggin' shit all the way up their backs. Okay, or projectile shit on you, which
oh my god, okay, that's never happened
to me. Okay, oh my god. Like, there's just so many things about motherhood, just being a parent and having a baby that nobody tells you.
Definitely. And then when you add everything you deal with, and then you have to go to work, get yourself ready, wipe the shit off your shirt and change, wash your hands, and get ready and act like nothing happened, and you go straight into work. It's just so funny that people don't realize everything you have to go through.
Well, you took off work for 5 years, you said.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't work for 2 years. I was actually supposed to go back to work around 6 or 7 months after having her, maybe 8 months. But I had it extended because I had a car accident. So that 8-month maternity leave ended up becoming a 2-year leave. So I was home for 2 years with the baby. So I got to do bringing her up. I didn't have to necessarily do daycare right away. And when I did have to put her in childcare, I was lucky enough to be able to put her into private school. So it wasn't necessarily just daycare of doing activities, sing songs, and snacks. They did that at private school, but they were actually teaching them stuff too,
Mm-hmm.
So I felt a little bit more, I felt better, if that makes sense.
Right. No, that makes sense. It definitely makes sense.
And plus the private school was really close, it was really close by to where I work. So that proximity provided comfort.
Mm-hmm. No, that's definitely good. Because at least you know that your child's in good hands and it's not just, you don't know what the hell's going on.
Well, I was going to say that separation anxiety works both ways. When I was, I guess, raising her, when she was a little infant, little freaking potato or whatever, I was nervous about leaving her alone for 2 seconds, let alone for hours upon hours in the day, right? Now that she's older, girl, oh my God, trust me, I try to pawn her off whenever I can. I need the break.
Trust me, I know what you're going through, definitely. And it's funny because when you have one child, that child wants your attention so much. And I remember that, having my son, and to be honest, by the time his brother came along, he was about, 1 and a bit. So it wasn't then he had a friend to play with, and then it wasn't so much. And then when I had my third, I was just wow, this is a lot of work. And my third was a surprise. The one child, I'm okay, I could deal with 1 baby. And 2 babies, I'm yep, I want him to have a brother. The third baby, I'm what? I'm okay, now this is becoming a factory now. This is a conspiracy. So that's when I ran and got my IUD, and I ended up finding out I was extremely fertile after not thinking I could have kids. Okay, due to a medical condition. So I was so shocked that I could get pregnant in the first place, and then after that, never mind, bang, bang, bang. It was open the floodgates. So I had to shut that right down with an IUD, which is an intrauterine device for anybody who is not female or maybe just doesn't know. So I got that, and then I've had my 3, and that's it ever since. The factory's been closed, and
my question to you about the IUD, because I also have an IUD. Mm-hmm. I'm actually getting mine swapped out soon. Bless you.
Oh, thank you. I tried to cover the mic.
No, it happens. As long as it's not COVID, you're good.
I rebuke it. It's definitely not.
But, okay, so IUD. There are I guess since we're talking about motherhood and birth and all that stuff, there's two types of IUDs. There's a metal one, like a copper one.
Yeah, the Flexi T, and then the hormonal.
Yes, and then there's the hormonal one.
Mm-hmm.
I've always had the hormonal one. Have you ever tried the other one, or are you also on hormonal?
For me, I've only had the copper one. I used it once for 5 years.
Okay.
And yeah, to be honest, it was fine for me. I just didn't put it back in afterwards because I just wanted my body to have a break. So I got that taken out I got it put in 2013 and taken out in 2018. So it's been 2 years since I've been just free. Natural, yeah, and just using other forms of contraception.
Okay, because I've been on hormonal,
mm-hmm.
and I've had mine for about 5 years now too, and because girl, I was terrified of getting knocked up again. I was just, I was like, could never, should never, would never.
Trust me.
I ran and got that IUD put in so fast.
Okay. Girl, yes. Okay, yes, I get it.
So, and I'm getting it swapped out so that there's no point of contention of, possibly having, getting re-impregnated. I have no interest.
Right.
But I don't know. I've always been scared of the copper one just because I've heard of people, they claim that there's more cramping, that you have a heavier period because with mine, I will say, girl, what period? Right.
Yes. So definitely. So with the copper one, yes, you do have a heavier period. Mm-hmm. It didn't bother me because it wasn't it wasn't crazy, right? It was just it's just definitely in comparison to the hormonal one. Yeah. It seems like a lot of blood because because of the hormonal one, you pretty much have virtually no period. I hear, right? So I haven't had that.
I was spoiled. That was the one benefit of being pregnant, was not having a period for what felt like a year.
Exactly.
And being on the hormonal IUD, it's like I have that back again. It's amazing.
Exactly. But for me, I didn't have any cramping. Probably a little bit at the beginning when I first got it in, but I was fine. To be honest, and I have a high pain tolerance, so I'm so chill when it comes to stuff like that. It didn't bother me. I liked it. As long as no babies were coming out of me, I did not care. I was like, I am good. I am not trying to wake up another 3 years later with 6 kids now, to add 3 on. So to be honest, I didn't have any of those issues with it. But it's funny because I did try, while we're on the talking about, women's menstruals and whatnot, I did try the Diva Cup. Okay.
Yes, talk about it.
Yes.
I have other friends who have used the cup, and I've seen people talk about using the cup. I personally have not used the cup just because, like I said, being on an IUD, I barely have a period. When I do, it's 1, maybe 2 days, very light bleeding, so tell me about it. I want to know.
Yes. Okay. So I have a cousin who recently converted to Diva Cup, and I always been curious about it, but I just didn't, I didn't have the inkling to just go and try it. But once my cousin, who's someone I actually knew in the flesh, was like, you know what, I actually already have it, and someone to kind of bounce the questions off of, she just said she really liked it. Just give it a try. I'm like, maybe I will. So I did finally end up trying it. I went and bought one, and they have actually 3 different sizes. Let's start there. Okay, so they have a size 0, a size 1, and size 2. Apparently 0 is if you're a virgin, or 1 is if you're sexually active, and 2 is I guess it's supposed to be with the size, what the size of your pelvic area is as well. So
maybe the cervix?
I don't know. Yes, maybe. I honestly, I didn't read the instructions that closely. But I got the size 2 because I'm thinking, you know what? I've had children, so maybe the size 2 would work for me. Looking back, I probably should have got a size 0 just because I have a smaller frame, and I find that the size 2, it was irritating my uterus. Like, it was irritating me. So it's supposed to, yeah. So when you put it in, you actually fold it up, like you bend it in half. It's a rubber cup in the shape of like an egg. So like half of an egg. So it's kind of like, yeah, so half of an oval, and at the bottom it has a little kind of
like a tail.
yeah, a little stem at the bottom of it, a small stem for
Yeah.
you to grab it and pull it out, okay?
Right.
And what it does is you fold it in half, shove it in there, and then it kind of umbrellas out and sits right at your opening, your vaginal opening, okay? So it's not supposed to go up too high. That's the trick. Because me, like, I was putting that thing up there. Girl, I was losing that thing. I'm here playing friggin' finger, find it, puppet. I don't know. It was horrible. Yes. Okay. It was too much. I'm there looking around for this. I'm like, oh my God, like, how do I explain this to my doctor? You know, but no, it naturally does come back down. So you won't be like losing it up there or anything. But the trick is you're not supposed to put it too far up. Like, just try to keep it at your opening, let it pop open an umbrella, right? You know, about when it's like halfway up a little bit. So yes. And then you're supposed to twist it around. You hold on to that stem part, twist it so that while it's in that umbrella open position, you twist it so no air is like going in, any bubbles or whatever the heck, it suctions in there and no water can come out, basically. Okay?
Yeah, you kind of like make a seal.
Right, you seal it, exactly.
Okay, I'm with you.
Yeah, so then you just go, you wear it for maximum 10 hours. You go out, live your life, you can go swimming, you can this, you can that, like, and you're good. You are very good. And yeah, and then it fills up, and then you take it out, you know, and then it's full of blood. And honestly, I loved it. I love, yes.
I will say that's the part that kind of like, because like honestly with tampons and stuff, so like you're used to inserting something into your vagina, right?
Right.
And so that part never made me uncomfortable, but it's the part of you taking out the cup, and the cup is full of, and like, what happens if you have a heavy day? Is it going to spill? Or is it going to make a mess? Like, is it a lot of blood? Like, I don't know. Because, like,
right.
before, pre-IUD days, I used to have some days of really heavy flows where, like, girl, I was, like, I needed a tampon and a pad.
Yep.
Like,
no, I get it. But this is the thing. What I like about the Diva Cup is that you realize that you don't really bleed that much, okay? Because when you're wearing a tampon, when you're wearing a pad, you know, a few drops of blood look like a lot because it's going on a flat surface. So you could take it off, put on another one, and it already gets dirty. Boom, right away, a pad. You know, it doesn't take a lot of blood to make it already. You know what I mean? To fill a pad.
To make it look messy.
To make it look messy, exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
With the Diva Cup, it also has measuring lines on it, so you can see. Okay, you can say, okay, I had it in for 5 hours today. Does it go up to like the first, you know, couple of centimeters, or how high does it go? And you can actually see it, and your blood, and it doesn't smell, it doesn't smell dirty the way like you can wear a pad and then you kind of feel like, oh my God, I need to change it right away, or you know what I mean, because the blood, it dies when it's out of you, right? So it's just there kind of festering. But with the Diva Cup, this is fresh blood. It's staying fresh. It's sealed in you. And when you take it out, it's like just a deep red blood that I watched. It's funny because I watched this YouTube video before I used it, and this one girl is like, I even smelled it. She's like, just yes, I love her. It was so funny, and she's like, it has a sweet smell. So, girl, I bust a sniff. I was like, okay.
Well, you know what? It makes sense, and I actually love it. I'm laughing, but like I love it because, girl, you need to understand your body. A lot of people just go on and go with life just doing what they're told and be like, oh, this is like this. This is supposed to be like that. When you're bleeding, you're supposed to wear a pad. You only wear tampons if you're not a virgin. Like,
oh my God, I know.
Stupidness. All sorts of stupidness, okay? And so I love the fact that it's like, you know what? She wants to understand her body. She wants to understand feminine odors and things like that. Because like even like growing up, people don't tell you about your vagina's pH balance.
Thank you.
Okay?
Very
People
true.
don't tell you about your vagina's pH balance, the fact that the vagina is naturally a little acidic, so that because it's a self-cleaning organ, and that, for example, like when you have sex, and even if, like, let's say a man doesn't come in you, but let's say that they do, okay? Just as an example, since we're talking about pregnancy here. A man's sperm is naturally alkaline. So with something alkaline entering your body, especially when it's naturally supposed to be acidic, it throws your pH of your vagina off balance. And so naturally the body's reaction or the body's inclination is like, after you engage in sexual intimacy, is that you're supposed to pee. Because like the ammonia and the natural acidity of the vagina helps flush out some of that sperm so that your body can kind of go back to normal. And if you don't always pee after you have sex, not all the time, but sometimes, it throwing off your pH balance can cause yeast infections, can cause bacterial vaginosis, and even worse, can cause pregnancy.
But no. But the thing is, I get the whole peeing thing, but it doesn't stop pregnancy, because when you pee,
I'm not saying it does.
Yeah. I just want to clarify that for any listeners who might have taken it as that.
No way.
These youngins out here.
Girl, I'm going to say it myself. Peeing does not prevent pregnancies. That was a joke.
Right.
That was a joke. The bacterial vaginosis and the yeast infections, though, that's a very real thing. I'm just talking about the fact that you said that this girl smelt her period blood in the Diva cup, and that she found that there was no odor.
Yeah, and it just smelled sweet.
And that's what triggered my brain in terms of this whole tangent of mine.
Oh yes, no, understandable. But you're completely right on the front that we have to know our bodies, and that's why I do like the Diva cup, because it is female invented, and we have to realize that pads and tampons, a lot of these inventions are by men. These male scientists that know nothing about the female body, they don't have a vagina, so how are they going to know how to take care of a vagina, you know?
Hold on. Before we since we're being technically correct about certain things, I'm going to Google right now, who invented a pad?
Yeah, and Google tampons, because I heard that tampons were invented originally for like filling bullet holes in war, like filling bullet holes in like the tent or something like that. And they would throw tampons in there.
Because this is, I wanted to make sure, but apparently the person who invented menstrual pads, not tampons, pads, okay, was Mary Davidson, and she is a Black woman, by the way.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yes. So when you were talking about men, I was like, hold on, I need to fact check this.
Yeah. No, but like what I mean is a lot of like medical.
But I believe you're right though about the tampons though. I think the tampons were originally like it was a product for bullet wounds, unless
something like that, like bullet.
Let me Google it.
Exactly. If you're already starting.
Yep, menstrual pads for sure were created by a Black woman. Let's see, tampons though. Okay, menstrual tampons were created in 1931 by a man named Earl Haas.
Sorry, what was his name? I think I spoke over it.
Earl Haas. EARL, last name HAAS.
Oh.
Yes. It says in 1931, Earl Haas invented the menstrual tampon, most commonly used in the 21st century. Later, Gertrude Tendrich produced the first commercial tampon brand, Tampax, using Haas's patented design.
Interesting.
So we were half right. It was a white man.
So very interesting. But like
the pad.
Right. But it's like we need innovation, and I like the idea of the Diva Cup because it's just it's another option. To be honest, I want to invent something, damn it. Like I want to invent like the friggin' the I don't know, the
Well, if we're talking to alternatives to for I guess menstruating, there's also a brand called, I think they're called Thinks, and like Think, but instead of a K, it's an X, and they've invented underwear and clothing that has like a built-in sanitary seat, like a built-in sanitary pad apparently, that you can, like, you put on your underwear as if you're not having your period. They're usually like black in color, and it absorbs your flow with the promise of no leaks, no bleeding through, no odor, and no discomfort in terms of like not feeling like you're sitting in like a wet puddle or something like that.
That disturbs me.
Why?
It does.
Why?
It's funny because I wanted to invent.
It's called Thinks period panties, by the way.
I don't like the idea of that.
Why?
But I don't like that. I don't like the idea of that. But I just don't. Because
I love it.
Because I just, all I think about is, okay, so I have to take that off and throw it straight into the wash right now. So it's like I can't just change my underwear at work. You know what I mean? If I'm at work all day and then I just want to change my underwear, I'll have to have, where am I putting that one underwear?
Well,
they have a washing machine.
You're so funny. They have different absorption levels. So, for example, they have like a super absorbency, moderate absorbency. So it depends on like, I guess, which day of your flow. So like on your heaviest days, you would wear a super absorbency panty that you could wear essentially all day.
Right.
If you're on a lighter day, then you could wear something like a moderate absorbency panty that, again, you can wear all day.
Because like what I think about is, okay, so when I have to go pee, I'm putting this thing back on? When I need to, go use the bathroom?
Well, I was going to say, because it's different from a pad, because you're thinking of a pad. So you're thinking like,
not even.
You're going to bleed, you're going to see it there, it's going to be wet, and then instead of, whereas a normal person or a normal woman, the average woman, I can't say normal person, the average woman would, take off the pad, roll it up, throw it away, put on a fresh one, and then go on with their day. You're thinking you're still putting on the dirty, blood.
Right, I know, exactly. I'm just not knowing what their science is, right? So that's why.
It absorbs into this liner and moves it away from the body. So like you will so you can put on, like pull up the panties, pull down the panties, pee, do whatever you need to do, pull up your panties, and in theory you shouldn't feel it. And like I'll link you to a YouTube video of a girl who actually used them for like a whole week to test them, and her opinions on it. She had a pretty good experience with them. But,
I want to invent a machine. No, seriously, I want to invent a machine called the Scoop. And on the first day of your period, that thing just goes up there. It does a swipe. It comes down, and it's done. It's in a container. You throw it in the garbage. Call it a day. Okay.
Girl, I'm dying because I've thought of that myself. Like, why can't there be a thing where, like, almost like even okay. I hate sounding so morbid. I'm always sounding so morbid on this. We're so obscene, okay? Or obscene or whatever.
And we want all of that. Bring it all to the show.
You know how, like, sometimes there's, like, a neti pot where, like, if you're congested, you pour water in one nose hole and it comes and it flushes out the other.
It's so funny, yes.
It's like, almost like an enema. Instead of your booty, though, it's your coochie, where you just flush it. You just put the water in there. You're a little bloated for a little bit. You like fill it up with water, get a little bloated. It cleans out everything there, and then you just have one big pee. Where you just let it all out.
That's so scary to me. That's so scary. But it's like, what's more scary though? A damn machine going up there, so that's scary too. So the water's a little less. It's scary, but you're right. I get it.
Some sort of cleansing fluid.
Yeah.
Clean.
I like it.
Going on in there, and then you just let it out like I said, like an enema, where you with an enema. They put the water up in your booty, and they put it all up in your intestines, and you're supposed to hold it for 15 minutes, and then all of a sudden you really have to go, and you just let it all out in the toilet.
I like
You
it.
know?
It'd be like a vagi cleanse, a blend.
Yes.
Call it.
You know what's even better though? I'm gonna take it a step further. I'm gonna go back in time. Okay. No, I can't remember which culture, if it was Jewish or if it was a different culture, but there is a culture that when a woman is on her period, guess what? She's gone to a spa for a week. She
Hasidic
water. Yes.
Hasidic Jews.
Yes.
Do that for sure.
Gone to a spa for a week. You're bathed in holy waters. You pray. You meditate. Can you imagine having a week to do that every month?
Oh, I know. I love it. Go to the sauna. I agree with that. I highly agree. I feel like there should be mandatory
self-care
bubble baths for women on their period, like, or like just spa days.
We just remove them from the whole environment because, like, PMS is real, girl. Like, you look at me the wrong way, especially when I'm on my period, I'm fighting you.
It's funny because for me, it's literally the week before my period. I become the Hulk, like emotional, like not just anger. It's my feelings, like the tears, like anything. I get attitude, all of it. The Hulk in all of those ways. And
I'm gonna tell you a story.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna tell you a story. Okay. It was like maybe a few days, just under a week, I know for sure, before my period. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And I already wasn't feeling well, but I was starting to feel better. And girl, I was online and I was just looking at stuff, and there was like some ad for some jewelry online, but it came with like a beautiful little text. I read the text and I was sobbing uncontrollably. I like moved to tears, bawling. I was like, I have to buy this. I bought it. I have it in my house. And it's funny now because now that I have it and I reread the text, girl, this doesn't hit me the same way it hit me before.
Exactly.
I was weeping uncontrollably. My boyfriend called me, what's wrong? I'm like, I have to have a beautiful necklace. What the fuck? Like,
don't kill me.
Honestly, I don't know. I find when I'm hormonal in any type of way when it comes to relation being pregnant or being PMS or whatever, I cry like a bitch.
Honestly.
I'm like, and usually I'm very chill. Like, you know me, I'm chill. Very little things can faze me. Stuff can shock me, but like I'm never necessarily emotional. When I was pregnant, everything made me cry. Everything made me cry.
That, to be honest, like for me,
girl, I cried over chicken wings.
I loved it though, girl. Like when I was pregnant, oh my God, especially for me being pregnant literally 3 years in a row, it was like the best thing about pregnancy was crying on demand. All I had to do was scrunch my face and it just came. So anytime I didn't get what I wanted, I was just like, boom, that's it. The tears just started flowing. I loved it. But then afterwards, like I tried to do that later on. You know, my kids are like 2, 3, 4. I couldn't. I put my face. I'm like, oh, frig it, what happened? Damn it, no ice cream tonight. He won't go get it for me. You know, it's like it was so hard. It's hilarious though. I feel the emotion, and I will also add that like in my 30s, I found that my PMS became real. Like I was never this emotional on my period, like before my period in the past. I find that as I'm in my 30s, my libido has gone up, but then my temperamentalness just before my period has also gone up. So it's crazy.
Like I'm telling you, girl, my daughter could just be like, I love you, Mom, on the wrong day, and I want to fight her. I'm like, my boyfriend will be like, oh, babe, wants to hug me, and I'm like, don't touch me.
Right.
Like, and it's terrible. It's terrible because it just goes so extreme.
It is extreme. And then honestly, and isn't it weird because a lot of times you want sex more on your period?
Oh my God!
Like it's annoying.
Yes,
and especially
nymphomaniac.
Like I don't get it. I do not get it. I think it's God saying, like, don't have any more kids. Just do it when it's too late. Like, I don't know. I really don't know what it is, but it's just on my period. It's like I want it. The one time when it's like I don't always want, like my body will just want to do it, and I know that like some of my exes hate it, right? So it definitely depends on who you're with and how you feel about that. I never used to have period sex unless like I was seriously like in love, with the person, right?
But you see, I never understood that because like my whole thing, and like when I was younger, I used to get it and be like, oh my God, I'm on my period. No,
right,
whatever. But like as I got older and like the partners I had been with, thankfully have been cool in the most part of being like, if I'm on my period and I want to have sex, they're like, all right, cool, like just throw a towel down or we'll use a condom,
right?
You already should be using anyways,
exactly.
But, but like it wasn't anything that necessarily phased them or really made them uncomfortable. And I'm thankful for that because, like, I still have girlfriends now who, at their big age, is telling me they can't have sex because they're on their period, and I'm like, says who?
Right. And and at the end of the day, that's exactly it. It definitely depends on both parties involved because there are some men who absolutely refuse. And there are some men who are like, who cares? Like, you're my woman or whatever. What you want is what you want, right? So, and it's just so funny that we're even wired to want it more during that time, So I just wonder what the science is behind that. So, interesting.
Well, okay, my question to you is, getting back into the whole pregnancy, motherhood tangent of whatnot, what pregnancy symptom that you developed while being pregnant, it could be any of your 3 pregnancies, that you still kept afterwards? Because like a lot of people will say like your skin gets better or that your hair gets thicker, sense of smell, certain things. So like, what was it for you? And I'll tell you mine after.
It's so funny. My breasts, during pregnancy, right? Because your breasts, they just mature. They just become mature. Like your nipples turn to doorknobs. They grow. Like your areolas become moon shadows. But I'm just kidding. But to be honest, I just like your breasts deflate. But then after a while, it takes like a couple of years. Your breasts will fill back up with meat. So ladies, don't rush to get the boob job. You don't have to. Give it a couple years, and naturally your meat will come back. And I'm so happy that my eldest sister, went through this before me. So I saw her with the flat pancake breast right after. She actually had 3 kids as well. And then later in her mid 30s, mid 20s, I believe, she's like, my boobs are back. So when it happened to me, I'm like, oh my gosh, it's a real phenomenon. But what the actual trait that I kept was that now, like, when you're breastfeeding, your boobs literally, they feel like they go Super Saiyan. Like they'll fill up, like they'll bloat, and like you feel every little like duct fill up, and they just kind of bulge, and your nipples get hard right before they're about to squeeze milk out, and they feel like your boobs activate. Like you realize they have a whole life that you didn't know about. That happens to me every month before my period. Like right before my marriage. Yeah, so like it never stopped. Like my boobs go Super Saiyan, and like it's actually really good during a sexual encounter because it's like when they're stimulated after that, it's like heaven for me. But it's just so weird. I asked one of my girlfriends, actually, it was really funny. I'm like, do your boobs activate before your period? She's like, no, they don't. she kind of sounded like, no. She's French, so one of my girlfriends, I love her so much. So I had to laugh because I realized, okay, this is something that I just got from pregnancy. Maybe all pregnant women go through this, but I don't know if you experienced this since pregnancy.
I will say my boobs, they did not deflate too badly just because I guess I didn't breastfeed as long as I wanted to. but they did shrink a bit. The meat, I don't know if the meat came all the way back the way I want them to be back. I still want a breast job one day. But the thing that stayed for me was my sense of smell. When I got pregnant, my sense of smell went through the roof.
Yep, okay? Same here.
I could smell somebody's armpit like 3 doors down. Okay? Like, if somebody farted in the next room, I can tell you what you farted out. Like, it was gross. It was too much. I could smell anything, everything. It was out of the, like, insane. And so, like, now, even now, like, my sense of smell is so high. So, like, I can be like, oh, I smell somebody's armpit, or, oh, you farted, or, oh, that smells like this, or that smells like that, like, you know, and, or I can, like, if I'm in one room, I can smell the garbage in the other room. I'd be like, oh, the garbage stinks, can you take it out? And, like, my partner will look at me, because he admits, like, his sense of smell is not that great, but, he'll be like, you can smell that? And I'd be like, yeah.
It's so funny because that same thing would happen to me. Like, I remember wondering why, like, I would walk into the house and be like, what the hell? Like, why'd you put so much seasoning? Like, why is this? And it was so weird because everything I smelled, though, I wanted to eat. So I'd be sitting down. If someone's eating pizza near me, I want pizza. If I turn on the TV, someone having soup, I want soup. If I smell next door they're making curry, I need curry now. Like, it was so addictive. It was so funny, but I definitely didn't keep that trait, thank God. Like, my sense of smell was crazy. I did feel like a freaking bloodhound in a field. You know, it was nuts.
So that was while you were pregnant, though?
Yeah, only while pregnancy. Yeah, after pregnancy, it's gone.
Mine stuck.
That's crazy.
No, seriously, mine stuck. And, like, the one thing I will say, like, the wild thing was, I guess, was it last year maybe? I think it was maybe sometime last year. I was in my old place and I smelled something that, like, smelled like a dead animal, specifically like a dead mouse or something. And I was like, what's that smell? And everybody was looking at me like I was crazy, like I had 5 heads. They'd be like, what are you talking about? And I'm like, something smells like it's dead. Is it the garbage? Is it whatever? Can you take the garbage out? It smells. They're like, I don't smell anything, but okay, if you say so, blah, 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 blah. Okay? Fast forward 2 days later, I see my cat playing with something. What are you playing with, girl? Why is this a fucking mouse?
No!
Because I lived on the main floor. So it makes sense that, like, if I'm on the ground floor, or where I lived at that point, I was on the ground floor. So, you know, things could get in if they really wanted to.
Right. That's scary.
Girl, it was a fucking mouse. I screamed at the top of my lungs. Girl, it was dead. So
thank God you had a cat, though. Thank God you had a cat, because...
Oh, yes.
Mercy. Yes. Oh, my God.
Thank God. He was handling it. But, like...
That nose is serious, though. Then to smell that, Jesus Christ.
Girl,
that's a good thing, though.
The nose knows.
That's definitely a good thing. For me, like, I didn't really keep anything else from my pregnancy. It was just that, and you definitely, your hips widen after having children. You get that pelvic tilt, so your butt kind of pinches out, like your pelvis tilts forward, so you slightly it basically looks like your vagina pubic hairline goes down. It looks like it goes down without you having to even wax it all the time, so that's great. That's a plus. So free wax kind of illusion there, but yeah, not much else did I keep from pregnancy. It's crazy.
Okay, so then the next question for you, I'm going to pose, and then I'm going to let you pivot this however you want to pivot this afterwards. Is, what's your favorite thing about being a mom? And what is your worst? This is a two-part question. Like, so what's your favorite and least favorite thing about being a mom? And do you, now that you are a mother, do you see parallels in how your mother raised you that you are now raising your kids?
Oh, good question. Well, my favorite thing about being a mom, honestly, there's a lot of good things about being a mom. I definitely love the ways that, like, my kids will randomly make me laugh. And it's so unexpected. You're not expecting kids to be funny, or they'll just, or they'll ask a funny question that's like, you're just so not expecting it. Like one day, my middle child, I love telling this story. I put him in his room because he did something naughty. I think he like bonked his brother over the head with a toy or something, or egged the fridge or something. He was always getting into stuff. So I put him in his room. He's probably like 7. And I told him, I'm looking at him as he's angry with me, furious eyes. And I'm like, you look so much like Daddy. He's like, so you look like your dad. And I'm like, well, yes, actually, I do look like my dad. And my dad's like 76. He's like, well, that means you're bald and you have no teeth. And I'm like, oh my gosh. Wow. And at that moment, I just started cracking up. I couldn't even get mad at him anymore. I was dying because he literally described my dad. I'm like, how dare you? I'm like, that's not what I look like. And I just started cracking up. But it's just those little small moments where you're not expecting the things that are going to come out of their mouths that come out, and how just intelligent kids are, and they can be so witty in their own right. And the worst thing about being a mom, honestly, oh my God, now that's a long list too, okay? I would say, for me, just the constant interruptions and the lack of sleep. That for me is what it drives me insane. Like, mom, like, the word mom, I'm triggered now. It's like, ugh. Before you dream of hearing it, and like I said before, and now it's like, to be honest, I would like for them to call me daddy for a week. Like, just do it. Just for a change of pace, Just give me a change of pace. And like, it feels like sometimes you can't get anything done because the moment you're getting one thing done, so-and-so wants this, especially if you have multiples. Like, even with one child, they can interrupt a lot, but that exponentially it's a whole new ball game. So you definitely have to like learn to be able to multitask and juggle all that attention that they all need.
Fair enough. I guess, okay, and then the second part to my question was, what parallels do you see in raising your kids that you understand now, from like your mom to you? Is there
yeah.
Like, before your mom used to do that you hate, but now you do it?
For me, it's funny. There's probably a lot of those. One thing I can just remember is I remember begging my mom. Like, my friend invited me over for a sleepover, and I'd be like, Mom, can I go? She'd be like, No, Hildy, you cannot go. And I'm like, Mom, please. All right, just go, okay? And literally now I get it. I get my mom just being like, okay, fine, just, because my kids, like, just when they don't stop and they're like, Mom, and then you just snap and you're like, yes, whatever, I completely, that I get now. I thought back to my mom, like, this is what I did to this poor lady. Like, this poor lady, I wore her down. So I could definitely see that. In terms of like things that she did or that I didn't like, that I now do, I can't really pin a finger on something right now. I'd have to think about that. But you go ahead in the meantime.
Okay, well, I will say, I guess the one thing I like about being a mom is like seeing this little person just so interested in what I have to say and do and think and stuff. Like, she's really cool in that sense. And I was telling another friend earlier today, like, it was actually really funny because she was talking to my boyfriend. They're having some little conversation, whatever, in the kitchen, and like he's always trying to test her, you know, in the sense of like, if she asks a question, he'll answer it, but he'll answer it so logically, like way unnecessarily logically, that it needs to be answered for a 5-year-old instead of just kind of breaking it down. And so he said something and was like challenging her. And all I hear from the kitchen is this little voice that goes, you tried it.
Literally a little mini you, a mini Lola.
I died because I'm like, she is my daughter. She is my kid. Like, this little girl told this whole grown ass man, you tried it.
Don't kill me.
I loved it. I lived because it shows me that, you know what? You are not afraid to call a spade and call a person's bluff, and you don't care what age they are. Like, I love it.
Yeah, she's a little strong black child already. That is so cute.
I live. On the flip side, is because she is an older child, like, and I feel like I can't even say it's an older child because you always kind of have this complaint to me all the time. Is because mom, no, and because there's nobody else to bug, like,
yes.
So like if like my boyfriend's here, then I'll be like boyfriend, or like her grandmother, Nana, like, you know,
yeah,
so, like,
yeah.
She constantly persists until she gets what she wants, and I'm guilty of doing that. Oh, fine, take it. Fine, leave me alone. Whatever. So, like, that part's incredibly annoying and gets under my skin, just due to my own personal pet peeves. But, like, the one thing that I now do as a mom that I used to hate when my mom used to do it, she'll be lying on the couch. And she'll be like, Lana, can you bring me this from over there?
Oh, yes.
I used to hate it because I used to think in the back of my head, like, why can't you get off the couch? Why are you being so fucking lazy? I still bring it to her, but like in the back of my head, I'm constantly complaining, like, why can't you just get off the couch and get it? Now I do it. I do it. I'll be on the couch because I get it. It's like, it's that one moment you're off your fucking feet and you get to relax and do fucking nothing for a minute. I birth you, bring me this. Like,
it's so funny. And it's so funny because for me, like, with my kids, I was always doing every damn thing. So I had to train myself, like literally just at a damn thinking, wait, I've got 3 remote controls, okay? Like, why am I busting my backside? So I'll be like, hey, can you pass me this? Can you pass me that? And my son's like, oh, why do I have to do everything? I'm like, excuse me. You have the nerve to tell me why do you have to do everything when I'm the one here cooking, cleaning, clothing, washing, vacuuming, sweeping, doing everything. He had to shut his mouth right there. He just realized, like, yes, mom. I'm like, yeah, right? You still want your computer, right, to play on, right? That I bought. Okay. Now go get me that remote. You know, so it is so funny how they grow and being able to use them as, you know, helpers. I like that. It's definitely something I need to do more often with my kids because I'm just so used to just doing everything that I don't even bother them enough as I should. As much as I should.
Thankfully, like, my little girl, she loves being a helper. Like, when I tell her certain things, like, oh, you're going to be my special assistant or my special helper, my personal assistant, she loves it. She eats it up. I'm just like, thank God she doesn't understand what child labor is. I'm listening to the bone, though. Like, put it this way, I need to put that full disclaimer out. I do not work my child to the bone. Of course. I literally ask her to do very simple tasks. Put this in the garbage. Bring me that paper. Ooh, this
and that's natural. And it's good for kids to learn things anyway, you know? Like, that's what I like about my younger two, because they love doing stuff. Like, my middle child, he's ready to set the table for me. He's ready to help mom with the dishes, help me cook. My youngest loves washing the dishes. Like, I've had moments where, you know, I have a rough day and I just feel so down, and like there was a day I was just crying and washing the dishes, you know, and it was probably one of those PMS days where like everything was just getting to me and I was emotional, period on its way, emotional Hulk that day. And my son just came up to me and he just looked up and hugged me and he said, "No, mommy, I'll do it." And he was 7 years old, and this child washed all the dishes, rinsed all the dishes. And I'm like, oh, like it made me want to cry more. But I pulled myself together and I mopped my living room, and it was just so sweet. And it showed me that as much as my kids are rambunctious and they can be a handful, like some days I feel more like a referee than a mother, like tapping it into the ring, tapping this one out of the ring, trying to, break up fights and stuff. It just showed me that at the end of the day, they do see what I'm doing. And I have, especially my youngest, who really has that empathy and that connection with me. And it was so sweet to just see him take on that role and understand my mom's a human being and she needs help, because I'm telling you, I don't think as a kid I really grabbed the dishes from my mom and was like, yeah, let me do it. No, I definitely got to that point where my mom was like, okay, now you have to learn. But it was just so sweet for him unprompted to do that, especially for a little boy. I was so impressed.
That's nice. That's so sweet. I love that.
Yes. And now it has been 1 hour. And I hope this episode is all that in a bag of chips for all of our listeners. We could definitely come back, or if you guys are interested, you love the topics and you have a comment, feel free to send it to us on our Instagram page, which is at This Black Girl Podcast, @This Black Girl Podcast.
Let them know.
Yes. So thank you so much for listening. Stay tuned. Again, I am one of your lovely hosts, Hill Diva.
And I'm the lovely host, Lola. Make sure to send your mama some flowers. Tell her and tell her you love her.
Amen. Yes, please, definitely appreciate your moms and what they do, because you don't know what they went through to have your backside and to keep you here, to let you become who you are. So it's very true, very, very true. And on those lovely notes, have a wonderful evening, and we will see you on Dirty 30 Thursday. Coming up. Bye.